Hey everyone. Hey everyone, and welcome to this live impromptu Instagram live. We're going to be talking about Luna and UST and what's going on, what to make of all of this. I do have a special guest coming on, somebody that I really respect in the DeFi space that's going to be helping explain all this as well as giving his thoughts and opinions. This is a really important call. Make sure that you stay on here. If you're wanting to know what is actually happening with Luna and UST, then make sure that you stay tuned. We're going to be talking all about Luna and UST. So just so you know, I've been talking about Luna and UST for quite some time, and what's happening is disastrous. And I feel, obviously it's your life, and I don't force any of you guys to make any sort of decisions, but I told you some of the stuff that I was doing regarding Luna and UST, and so I want to keep you updated. So let me see if I can get Miles on here. Here he is. And if for any of you guys that think I'm part of like the Luna, uh, come on. So
What's up? How's it going?
Miles, what's happening, man?
Man, what a rough 48 hours on the market. It's honestly, it's been a tough day or so. If you guys don't know who I am, obviously some of my followers are now in here as well. But for all of your followers, I'm one of the hosts on Crypto Banter. We're one of the biggest YouTube channels. My name is Miles Deutscher. I cover DeFi content and all that sort of stuff as well. So if you want to give me a follow, check that out. That would be much appreciated. But man, it's been rough.
Yeah, let me just give everyone an introduction to who Miles is. Miles, somebody that I really respect. I've been following him on Twitter for some time, and this is actually the first time that we're meeting, which is awesome. So nice to meet you, Miles. And I felt somewhat responsible. I've talked a lot about Luna and UST on my platforms, and you know, so even though I don't control the markets, right? We don't control the markets. It's crazy what's happening right now. And so a lot of people have questions. And so I know you're somebody that I've really looked up to for a long time. I've loved reading your stuff. And so what for those that are, maybe not as in deep into the weeds, into the DeFi world as you are, what's going on here? What's happened?
There's a lot going on. I mean, I could speak about it for half an hour, but I can give a quick kind of summary, I guess.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was pure market manipulation. I think the signs are out there now. If we look at the transactions and we kind of piece the pieces together, there was a major short event, a multi-billion-dollar short event from Wales with the goal of depegging UST. That led to a liquidation cascade, a lot of social media panic, a lot of social media botting, and basically it led to a total collapse of UST and the mechanism which is you can redeem one Luna for the equivalent value, one UST for the equivalent value of Luna. That basically all fell apart because what happened was there wasn't enough buy pressure to sustain the peg. So we saw the mass amount of shorts coming in weren't able to be countered by the buy pressure, regardless of the LFG, the Terra Foundation's best efforts to kind of keep it in structure. And yeah, man, the whole space is hurting right now. It has ramifications across crypto as a whole, which we can get into in a second. But it's been a crazy few days. I did a thread about it, but even since the thread, like it's gotten even crazier.
I know I saw your thread, and I thought you did a great job explaining it to help people make sense of all of this. And it is crazy. It feels like it's a loss for crypto. It feels like it's a loss for freedom as well. Really, which is sad. I don't know. I mean, do we know who it is yet that was behind the shorts? I know there's rumors, but have you heard any solid evidence behind who or?
I've heard rumors. I don't want to come out and say exactly who I think it is because until that's substantiated. I'm not going to comment. I've got an idea, but on banter tomorrow we're gonna talk a little bit about it. And kind of try and decipher exactly what happened. But honestly, it's not about for me. It's not exactly about who did it, who caused it. I think it more shines into the limelight that this can happen in the space. For years and years and years, the crypto space has been condensed to a very small amount of people. And now we're seeing these big Wall Street players. They didn't get in during 2017, 2018. And they're coming in, and compared to what they're doing, we're little fish. So they can come in with their 5, 6 billion, $10 billion and make a huge impact on the market because of the liquidity constraints with a lot of these altcoins. Whereas previously, you know, we were fighting against, you know, the little fish, the little whales. So I think the game has changed. I think what it really does is it emphasizes the need for regulation, especially in DeFi. You know, I've been saying it for a while that regulation is really what's going to pave this space forward. But I mean, even Janet mentioned it the other day about stablecoin regulation straight after UST depegged. So I know it's happening. I think what the events of the last 48 hours happened way sooner than I thought. Like, you know, it was always a possibility UST would depeg. Like, whenever I talked about it in my videos, I always said it was a possibility. However, I think I severely underestimated that it could even happen. Like, no one would have thought. It truly is a black swan. No one would have thought it could happen with this severity. And yeah, it's kind of shocked the entire world. So regulation is exactly what we need now to kind of pave the way forward. But I mean, look, if we're going to look at positives from this entire thing, I think the strength of Bitcoin has to be a major positive. I know alts are getting wrecked. I know we're degens. I know we're all very exposed to alts, or at least, you know, I was maybe, you know, until like a few months ago. And even the last couple of days have taken a massive hit. But overall, it emphasizes the strength of Bitcoin and Ethereum and the fact that it still has institutional money propping it up. And yeah, that's kind of like the one positive my phone fell. One positive takeaway we can take from all this. So yeah.
Right. I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum showing extreme strength. I've been surprised. Like, wow, impressive that it's held up that well. Yeah. So what is your opinion? What is your thoughts on UST? Where is it at? Last I saw it was around 60 something cents.
65 now.
65. So it's a little bit better than this morning. Is this a possibility in your eyes that UST regains peg, or is it just, what do you think?
Here's what I think about UST. I
Yeah.
think that if Do Kwon has one priority right now, it's getting UST back to peg. He doesn't care about Luna right now. Luna is honestly an afterthought, and that's clearly why the Luna price is on its way to zero right now, because that is not the priority for the foundation. I think there is a genuine scenario where UST gets back to peg. I don't think it's far-fetched at all. In fact, I think getting to peg is more likely than going to zero. But does that mean that it can regain the trust of the community? Does that mean that the mechanism can still work? Absolutely not. So long term, I struggle to see it succeeding in its current form. I think maybe if they try and launch another stable coin and collateralize it with current Luna holdings, it's probably something they're exploring right now. But in its current form, it's shown it can't succeed. And that is because the tech simply wasn't good enough. The tech was very good. It was revolutionary at the time it was created. But I think now it's apparent that it wasn't good enough to sustain its success amongst, you know, a massive liquidation cascade, a massive amount of shorts coming in. So it simply wasn't good enough, and that's okay. We just have to accept that. We're still at the stage of crypto where it's in its infancy, and things like this need to happen for us to work out what does and doesn't work. And I'm sure they'll be exploring other mechanisms going forward. Whatever Doe does, I'm not sure. Hopefully I can talk to him at some point. Obviously he's being swamped right now. I honestly feel bad for the guy. Wouldn't want to be in his position. But, you know, I'm just wishing all the best to everyone that's been affected, because, man, I'm going to be honest. This has been like one of the craziest couple of days I've ever spent on Twitter. Like, I've had people messaging me saying they've lost their wives, their families, their friends committed suicide. Like, it's messed up. Like, it's been really draining, not just from a financial perspective, but to hear stuff like that. It's like, it really, it puts into perspective, like, this is bigger than crypto. It's just bigger than money. This is, we have to think of the big picture now more than ever.
Yeah. And for those of you guys that are really down and out about this, like, as hard as it sounds in the moment, it is just money, right? And money is something that it comes and it goes, right? And I don't know about you, Miles, but I've gotten rich and I've, you know, went broke several times in my life, right? And it's like, you'll get the money back, you know? It's just like, don't do anything stupid like that, like, you know, taking your life. Like, everything, it's gonna be okay. And the chances are is you may have one bet right now currently in crypto that comes back and makes all of the gains that you've lost. You know, that's I still think that's still the asymmetry that's available in the market, especially over the course of the next decade. So, you know, there is hope, you know, and obviously what happened with Luna and UST, a giant experiment. I guess, I don't know, Doe's recent tweet about maybe they're going to over collateralize UST. Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to do without VC backing. I think they were trying to get $1 billion. So what happened was they were trying to get funding to fight the peg, but basically the cascade happened so quickly. I guess the backers got scared, and I think that I've heard from a few sources now that's fallen through. So, I mean, where they go from now is anyone's guess. I'm sure they have a plan, but it'll be drastic. It'll be a complete turn of events from what we've come to expect from Luna and Terra.
So it's interesting to hear your perspective. If you were a betting man, I'm not going to put the words in your mouth, but you thought that, you know, there's a higher likelihood that UST could come back to 1-to-1 peg versus completely getting blown. So, I mean, in order for that to happen, correct me if I'm wrong, but a massive amount of Luna still is yet to be minted. Am I right?
Yes. And that's the real problem, because they'll need to mint Luna in order to sustain the peg. And the issue with that is no one will have faith in Luna at that point. I mean, the faith is already wavering very quickly, clearly at $1. I'm looking at the charts right now. What are we at? I can't even scroll to Luna in the top 20 anymore. Like, it's number 40.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
77. I know, like, I went up to CoinGecko. It's not even in the top 40, which is just crazy. To see, like, we've never had, this is just to put stuff in perspective for you guys. We have never had a top 10 crypto worth $40 billion, let alone 10 billion, go to almost zero in 48 hours. This is the biggest event in crypto history, arguably. Of course, the 2018 bear market was massive. The COVID crash was massive, but I have never, ever seen, and none of us have ever seen, an event this drastic for a top 10 layer 1 protocol. It's crazy.
I mean, what does this mean for freedom, right, and decentralization? Because, right, that was the whole idea behind Luna and UST, was to give some sort of decentralized money that's out of the system, right? It's not a USDC, it's not a USDT backed by, you know, fiat reserves. And this idea now is like, you know, on the brinks of like extinction. You know, what do you think that means for the war on freedom?
It can be done. I think we are going to see a decentralized stablecoin succeed. I mean, I thought it was going to be UST. Clearly, the tech wasn't ready yet. I firmly believe it can be done. But the reality is, I'm not sure, and this is a pretty bold statement, but I'm not sure how much people actually care about decentralization. I think there's only a very small percentage of people that actually value it. I certainly value it. I know you probably value it. But most people are in this space to make money. And if, you know, they're not making money, then they're not happy. So that's the main issue with something like UST at the moment. I'm just not sure it has the true support of the essence of what it's trying to achieve being underpinned by community sentiment. But I think the benefits to decentralization aren't moral; they're tangible. It's the fact that it's more liquid. It's the fact that you can have it listed across multiple DeFi protocols, which enables trading, which enables quicker swapping. Decentralized stablecoins are more capital efficient than centralized stablecoins, which is one of the main reasons why UST could succeed. But decentralization in and of itself is like a questionable topic in crypto, which sounds weird to say, but like, yeah, that's kind of like where we're at the moment still, because we're in its infancy.
Right. And we saw that with, you know, Ethereum, right, being most decentralized, and then all of these other layer ones coming out just because it was faster, it's cheaper, right? We clearly saw that the masses don't really value decentralization at least that much, right? Like
no, the whales do. So
for sure,
to get that big VC backing, to get big backers, like obviously your Alamedas, Jump Capitals, 3 Arrows, like they certainly value it. I mean, that's why we've seen L1s like Phantom, which are relatively centralized, not perform as well as something like an AVAX even though that's centralized, it's still less, or an Ethereum, despite the tech, in my opinion, being equally as impressive. So the VC certainly value it, but the retail clearly doesn't.
Clearly. Now, were you a Luna and a UST holder, you know, throughout this event, or?
Yes. Like, look, I took a loss on, like I got liquidated for a large portion of my Luna. I took a pretty substantial portfolio hit. Probably in hindsight, I wasn't aggressive enough with profit taking at 120, but it's very easy to say that in hindsight, because at 120, Do Kwon literally tweeted, "We're just getting started." Like the sentiment amongst the community was it was going to $5,000, and I saw pricing models which suggested that was the case. If you've seen Murray Rudd's pricing, very bullish, and it relied on a lot of things going right, but there was actually a path to 5,000 if they maintain peg for, let's say, 5 to 10 years. So it's hard. It's easier said than done. Than like we should be taking profits, but I also think it emphasizes in the future you have to be taking significant amounts of capital off the table, even if you don't want to. And the same goes for the opposite. You should be putting in capital onto the table, even when you don't want to, which is the hard part I'm finding right now. Like I was literally in the shower before. I was thinking you know, do I buy? Like this is like pure capitulation. Like I'm feeling upset, and I rarely get upset in this market. And it was making me think like, if I'm getting upset and all the people are getting upset, and the fear and greed's at 1 or 2, it's like, I was literally thinking, is this the buy signal? Like, genuinely, it's crossing my mind because
how much more pain could there possibly be?
Look, Bitcoin can go to 24K. That's what my charts are telling me, and then I've also got another chart that's telling me 12K is kind of like that bottom range where I think it could be a wick down to 12. This is like my bear scenario. Wick down to 12, massive backers come in, push it back up to the 20K region. That's probably a scenario that could happen, which would crush alts. But I think if we get there, it happens super quick. I don't think it's a slow bleed to 12. I think it happens really, really quick. But which is good. We want it quick. We want the pain out of the way. And this is all speculation because obviously I was speculating Luna on being around, and that didn't end up being the case. So we don't always get it right in crypto. All we can do is use the information we have at our disposal to make educated decisions. In terms of the Bitcoin charts, I'm seeing 24. If that holds, cool. I think we can go right back up. If it doesn't, then 12K. It's kind of like what I'm seeing. But 30 is also very strong. People are underestimating right now. This 29 to 30K range is very, very, very strong support. And the fact Bitcoin is down 4.9% today against, I'm just looking at my screen, Solana 25, Polkadot 22, AVAX 32, Luna 98, Phantom 40. Like that is nuts. Bitcoin's down 4%. So it's a different beast in reality. Bitcoin and Ethereum are completely different beasts. I wouldn't even like they're other cryptos. I don't even know if you can call them like genuine cryptos at this point. Not that I don't like them, not that I don't own them. I do, but like in terms of ones that have been around, proven, battle tested, there's only 2 or 3.
And do you feel like everyone in this market is like, you know, they're seeing, holy crap, everything down 15 to 30, 40%, all their altcoins down. And then they see, you know, Bitcoin down, looks like 3%, Ethereum down 6%. Do you think this is just people going to be selling off all altcoins and just be like, look, I can't handle this pain. I'm just going to be in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I'm just going to let it ride? Or what do you think?
Well, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's clear. That's exactly what's happening now. And alts, look, the thing is with alts is they can create life-changing gains. Like investing $1,000 in an altcoin can make you a millionaire, and that's the appeal. But the thing I think a lot of people kind of misunderstand when they first enter this market is you need to have risk management. Like if you have 100% of your portfolio in crap, that it could pump, it could go to zero. Like you're gambling, you may as well go to the casino. So having some capital or a large percentage of capital in your proven assets is significantly going to limit your chances of downside and also tweak your risk reward profile. So I think if you didn't have the right portfolio weightings already, you can take your losses over this last week as the best learning you'll ever have in your life. Like I think, you know, you can pay $30,000 a year to go to university. You can pay $20,000 a year to go to a private school. Like if you've lost that kind of money in crypto over the last few days, you've just gotten the best form of life tuition you could ever possibly get. And that's kind of how I'm viewing this market. I'm not viewing my losses as like, damn, I lost money, I'm an idiot. It's more like this is the cost of tuition to play this game. And this kind of opens our eyes up to the true reality of the space, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. In times like this, it's like, what meaning do you associate to the event that's happening right now? Obviously, it's painful for everyone involved, but do you look at this as like, the meaning that, you can't be a successful investor, you can't be a successful trader, or is this something that you learn from? And I know in my life, I got to learn the lessons the hard way. Like, you can read it in a book or you can listen to a YouTube video, but a lot of times I don't learn the lesson until I learn it the hard way. And it's a tough lesson to
This is the
learn.
hard way. This is the hard way.
Yeah.
I also want to give a little bit of hope and encouragement here. I know a lot of the stuff
Sure.
I've been saying is bearish, but that's just because it's the reality of the market right now. But like, guys, I've got no doubt in my mind, Bitcoin is a $500 to $1 million asset one day. So even if a lot of these alts go to zero, like if you play your cards right, there are going to be crazy opportunities in this market.
Sure.
Insane opportunities. Like if you lost $1,000 yesterday, that if just putting in another 1,000 into the right project, the next top 10 project, which obviously content creators like us do our best to try and find, then that can set you up for life. It can recoup all the losses you've lost, essentially. So you just have to stick the course. These next few years, look, I don't know how long this bear market is. It could be a few months, could be a couple years, like who knows? But if you play your cards right, if you work hard, dedicate yourself to learning about this market and take some risks, take some risks in the sense that when everyone else doesn't want to buy, start some positions in some projects that you genuinely believe in, and long term that could pay dividends.
For sure. Yeah. And it's like, there's that parable in the Bible that talks about the guy that, he just holds on to his treasure and he doesn't do anything with it. And, versus the guy that he takes his treasure and he multiplies it, right? Like, if you're not taking these sort of risks, then you got no shot for sure at multiplying it. So,
absolutely. I mean, look at the guys in 2017, 2018, like the ones that invested in Phantom at a cent, Luna at a cent, Solana at a few cents. Like, those guys were the ones that ended up profiting significantly in 2020. And it was the people that were buying during 2018, 2019. They're the ones that you're seeing on Twitter flexing their Lamborghinis now. Like, those guys, like, they're not guys to be jealous of. They're not guys to go, oh, why can't I be as successful as him? They're guys to look up to in the sense that, like, they were the ones that had conviction when the market was going to shit. So if we take that on board and take kind of their steps on board, then the path's already laid out for us. It's just whether you have the conviction to stick through these tough times and come out the other side ahead. And that's what I'm going to try my best at educating over the next few months. I'm tweaking my strategy massively. I'm sure a lot of others are. And as creators, we're only learning from this how we can better serve our audience in terms of the content we put out, because we're just human. We get too bullish at times. We get too bearish at times. We make mistakes. But at the end of the day, we're educators, and we have to approach this market as it comes and try our best to help people navigate a very difficult market, the most difficult market we've probably ever seen, or at least akin to the early days of the stock market or the early days of property when people simply didn't know about it.
Yeah. And like, I'll speak for myself and maybe for you and other people that are influencers at this stage. It's like, look, like Miles said, we're human beings. We spend a ridiculous amount of time researching and trying to do our absolute best. And a lot of the times we're just reporting what we're learning. And it also, like, as somebody that's maybe watching, my content or reading Miles' content, it's like, view each influencer's content as like education, but ultimately, like, you have to make your own decision. And I think one of the most powerful things that you could do, if you see a guy like me or Miles, we're bullish on, Luna, or we're bullish on whatever, try to find the opposing opinion. Try to find the guys that are beating this down, because I know for a fact, I saw tweets about, people, beating down Luna. This is a Ponzi, and, this is never going to work. And I probably should have read heavier into what the opposing viewpoint was saying. I would have made a more rational decision. So I think the one thing that I really learned from this situation is, like, as excited as you are about something, as much as you believe in it, or him and him believe in it, look at the other opposing view. And I think that'll all help us make better decisions.
You're right. It's confirmation bias at its finest. It's something We
And
all
Twitter
talk
and the
all
Twitter
all
algorithm, it just works that way. Like it's just
and this is the problem with Twitter. And it's not just Twitter. It's the problem with YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. It's that the algorithm rewards what people want to hear. When the market is bullish and you post bullish content, it gets double the engagement than if you're a bear.
yeah.
The bears that were bearish during the tops, that were making a lot of money, everyone was clowning them. No one wanted to like or interact with their content. Now they look like geniuses. Same for the bulls that were trying to be bullish during a bear market. Everyone was hating on them. The algorithm wasn't picking them up because no one was engaging with their content.
Yeah.
And those were the ones that now look like geniuses or looked like geniuses, depending on when they got in. So it's difficult. You just have to take things with a grain of salt. Like I do my best to educate. I might put out a thread. The threads have incredible information in them, in my opinion, but it's what you do with that information. Me
Sure.
saying that Luna is super promising tech, has a great mechanism, blah, 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 blah. That's just educating based on what I have read and what I have learned. That's not saying like you should buy Luna or it's going to the moon. That's how people interpret it.
Sure.
So I think it's a good lesson for us as creators to be a little more grounded in the way we approach things, or at least approach risks. I think we could do a better job at labeling the risks, and that's something I've started to do, a while ago, but now even more so, it's become apparent. But yeah, it's a difficult game we're playing with social media rewarding the bulls more than the bears. But now I don't really care anymore. I think now I'm at the point where it's like, I just got to put out content that I believe in, and if people want to believe in what I'm saying, then they can follow that. If not, like, see you later. That's kind of
See ya. Yeah, and for those of you guys, like I see some of you guys' comments, you're just commenting dumb stuff on here, like, you think me or Miles is behind come on, like we're human beings. We're out here trying to do our best. Me and Miles did not have. It's funny.
Why would I liquidate myself? Why would I liquidate myself, guys? Like, the thing is as well, even like, there is no way any of us would ever do this. But even if we were using our followers as exit liquidity, which I hear all the time, like we can't make a splash on this market. Like, I don't know about you. I'm not trading billions of dollars. I can't possibly have an impact on the Luna price, no matter how much content I put out. Like maybe like 1% at most. Like there's no chance that's even possible. So those comments are, they're just stupid comments at the end of the day. And that's just something, people, look, I understand it. Like I was that guy as well a few years ago, because when you come into this market, you lose money. Maybe you look up to someone. It's easy to chuck blame around. It's easy to chuck anger around, but
it's easy to take zero responsibility for the results in your life. It's really easy to do.
Exactly. Yeah. It's easy to do, but it's I think we all got to take responsibility, and I certainly am as a creator. Like, I feel. Look, I'm not responsible for Luna using Peg, but at the end of the day, because I created Luna content, because I gave out UST strategies, I do feel a responsibility in some form that these events occurred, even though it was out of my control, and all I did was speak on what I could at the time based on the best knowledge I had. I still feel responsible because the reality is people lost money and people got hurt from this. And like to anyone that did get hurt, like I truly am sorry. And trust me, like I'm hurting as well. But it's just something we're going to work our way out of, and we're going to come out the other side stronger. I have no doubt. But it's been a brutal day. Like the reason I'm sounding so bearish compared to my usual tone is like we haven't seen drawdowns like this ever. Yeah. We haven't seen a top 10 do 98% in a day ever.
Yeah.
So, maybe in 2010 when Bitcoin was like $1 million market cap, but not of this magnitude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the only way you really lose is you quit. Like if you quit and you exit the game, I could almost guarantee you that you're going to miss out on life-changing gains. Like it's the only way. Like, so, and I still don't see like a better opportunity, a better market to be involved with for the next, till the end of the decade. I don't know. Like, is there a better? I don't see one.
Now what we're building is really special, and I think now's the time to build. Now's the time to focus on building something special. And I think if you really want to succeed in this market, being an investor is cool. Just putting some of your income from your job, investing in the market's cool. But if you really want to make true life-changing money in this space, we need builders. We need people delving into Web3, whether that's content creation, that's probably like the more surface level way of getting in. But I'm more talking about like working with projects, being part of communities, building something. If you're into crypto gaming, like get involved with the games. Like if you can be a builder in the bear market, that is probably the best investment you can make beyond any dollar you can put into the market during that period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your strategy right now? Are you like, where from here for yourself?
You know, thankfully my Luna position was only like maybe 7% of my portfolio. So it wasn't, maybe as big as other people. So I mean, I've definitely lost hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of the past couple of days. The way I look at it is I'm looking at the way that Bitcoin and Ethereum has held up, and I'm likely going to be just continue to average into Bitcoin and Ethereum, building bigger positions in Bitcoin and Ethereum, especially if we do go even lower, like you're talking about, 24. Yeah, but I think where we're at right now, 29, 30,000, I think is a pretty dang good place to buy. Definitely some support here.
It's good risk reward for a DCA if your goal is to accumulate Bitcoin long term.
Sure.
Like I've been buying Bitcoin. The alts, I mean, honestly, it tempts me right now. But then again, we don't have much macro clarity. So the thing is that it's an extremely risky bet at this stage. There's something to say for letting things settle, missing out on a 30% pump, but getting more clarity than kind of trying to catch a falling knife. Yeah. But it really depends on how much capital you have at your disposal. Like if you have 30% in staples, like go mad, like start DCAing. But the reality is most people probably don't. Most people are probably already pretty exposed and would like less exposure right now. So buy the dip is kind of like I don't know, it could come across a bit cringe in moments like this, huh?
I mean, it could, but also, I mean, what's the proven strategy? Buy ultimate pain in the market. I mean, we are
cutting out, hopefully. Yeah,
you there, Miles? You there?
Yeah.
So I was just saying, what's the strategy? Buy ultimate pain. Buy when you really don't want to. I don't want to, but it probably means I should.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking before in the shower. I'm like, I really don't want to buy right now. That means I probably should. It's crazy. Like, especially like I've been pretty like resilient through the last few months. Like I've been like, I don't care. Like whatever, just buy more. I think today, the last 2 days, it kind of set in like, shit, this feels bad, man. And like that doesn't really happen much. So that was a telltale sign that maybe I should be deploying. But I mean, it totally depends on your scenario, right?
Sure.
It depends on your risk tolerance, your outlook, how much available capital you have. Like you buying the dip and me buying the dip could be completely different situations. Sure. I don't know what your expenses are. I don't know what your other assets are.
Yeah.
So like everyone's situation's different. And that's why when you read someone on social media say, I'm buying the dip, it's like, it's not necessarily applicable to you as well.
Sure.
So you have to work out based on your situation, what's pragmatic.
Yeah, totally. And, another thing that I'll be doing for sure is, I mean, the way I made most of my money that I made in crypto is I was just buying on a consistent basis Bitcoin and Ethereum back when, what was this, before the halving happened, was that, I don't know, when it was at $4,000 or so, something like that. And, that's probably what I'm going to get back to. I haven't been buying every single week or every month. And I'm going to get back to just buying, like buying a percentage of my paycheck every month. I'm buying into the market, especially at prices like this. I like the risk to reward. So
you're just dollar cost averaging from other income sources. Is that outside of crypto, or by paycheck do you mean like crypto related?
From my business, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's the way to go, guys. And I've said it for a while. Like passive income or income outside of crypto is like what will make you the richest in crypto. Like if I didn't have outside capital to invest in the very beginning, like there's no way I'd be where I am right now. And I think it's the same for a lot of other people. Like the more income you can source during times of extreme bearishness, the exponential returns you'll be receiving on the other side. So I think people would just got to try and get creative right now. And I mean, don't take loans or leverage against positions. That's very stupid in a falling market. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That
just dollar cost averaging.
I guess that was another real lesson, right? You hear don't trade with leverage, don't trade with leverage. But I think a lot of people probably really learned this lesson.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people got liquidated, a lot of smart people, a lot of big money got liquidated from having leverage on. Thankfully I didn't, but like I saw other people do that and I definitely learned that lesson. So
I was at like F1. So I'm in Miami right now.
okay.
I went to F1. It was
Yeah.
we had a yacht there. We were filming content. I was relaxing for the day, so I switched my phone off and I had some Luna in Anchor. It was like at $50. My liquidation was like 25. I was like, I'm chilling. It's not going to 25 today. Like, that's a joke.
Yeah.
Got home from F1, checked my phone. It's like 30. I'm like, shit, like this is bad. We went to the club. I came back in the morning and like I was at 99% of my LTV. So I topped it up a little bit to get it down to 80%. And then bang, it just completely went to nothing. And I got liquidated on the entire position. And that's someone that's in the industry and had capital to get my LTV down. There was basically no way to pay off that loan without just paying it all off at once. So I kind of let myself get liquidated in essence. And turns out that my liquidation amount was actually much higher than the Luna price now. So like I didn't come out too behind on it in one way.
Sure.
Yeah. At the same time, on my entire position, I got pretty wrecked on that. And anyone that owns Luna now it's worth nothing. So it's like, what am I supposed to tell you? It's true.
It's a buck.
Like if you had 10 grand in Luna, at highs, you'd have like a few bucks, literally. Like, you'd have,
it's crazy.
Which is crazy to think.
Wild. Well, Miles, I appreciate you getting on here. For those of you guys that are following me, make sure that you do go and follow Miles. I follow him on Twitter. He's great. I've also seen you on YouTube. He's somebody that I really look up to, respect. He's a really good writer. So definitely somebody you want to follow, especially if you're curious about DeFi and wanting to learn more.
Follow Blue as well, because I reckon we got quite a few of my guys in here. I did a tweet with
cool.
the links, so I'll flick them over to you as well.
Okay, fantastic.
I reckon I tweeted the link, so I think
cool.
I think we'll have a fair few. But thank you for coming on with me as well. It was good to have a chat. We'll do it again in the future because the viewers are pretty high for Insta. Obviously, it's a negative day.
Yeah, I think there's almost 1,000 people on here tight, so it's not bad.
I know. It's more than I thought we get on Instagram, but obviously the market is doing what it's doing. There's a lot of interest surrounding the space right now, but
sure.
Guys, just stick to the process, stick to the plan, and we'll come out the other side stronger. And I'll go live on YouTube today and kind of give you some more thoughts on that.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, good talking with you. Thanks for being on here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, bro. Have a nice day.
Okay, take care, man.